welcome to the WellnessForLife Podcast, Wellness for Life, where we're about wellness and health for the rest of our lives. And that is really what it's all about. I'm Hank Merrick, and my co-host here,
Harrison Barnes.
And today
we have a special guest, my former teammates, one of my best friends, Tuskegee. Today we got Harrison Alex Glass.
Fourth, 1-0 lead for Edward Waters. Pitch there, Glass shoots one deep left field toward the fence line. That's out of here. Home run there by Alex Glass. Fastball.
A former 6A quarterback and Max Preps Baseball Player of the Year. He built a reputation as a true multi-sport standout in high school, and later on carried that on to Tuskegee, where he competed in baseball, and he earned recognitions as the HBCU All-Star, All-SIAC second team, and he was just all-around great baseball player. Today, Alex is a travel ball coach at Ep.1, pouring into the same community that raised him and helping him shape the next generation of athletes, not just in sports, but in character, discipline, and mindset. Alex, it's long overdue. We're glad to have you on here. Just want to start off, let everybody know who Alex Glass is.
Yes, I appreciate you guys. I'm honored to be on. Like you said, my name is Alex. Just a regular old Jesus-loving country boy from Birmingham, Alabama. I grew up with a rich sports background. My father played baseball at Alabama State University, and kind of passed the torch down to me. Went on to play football and baseball for the majority of my life, and then eventually branching off and playing only baseball in college. But hey, like I said, I love the Lord. I love giving back. I love coaching. And right now I'm just all things baseball, honestly.
So I wanted to take it back to, your high school journey. Like, you were a true, multi-sport athlete standout. Like, when did you first realize, I'm actually, I'm really different. Like, this is my purpose. I'm not just talented. Like, this is my purpose. Like, when did you first realize that?
I think I first realized that kind of early. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and sports, not only did it mean a lot to me, but it was just fun for me. Like, I would be in the yard, baseball season. We got a brick retaining wall where we got our basketball court, and I would just throw a ball against the wall, and I had mastered it so much that I knew if I threw it off this angle, I could shoot a ground ball to me, and I feel ground balls out there. I knew if I skipped it off the ground and hit the wall and ricocheted, I could catch line drives. And little did I know I was training, but, I thought I was just out there having fun. And, those same characteristics kind of transferred into my gameplay. And that's when I was like, okay, this is something that I want to do as long as I possibly can. And it's something that I can actually be really good at.
Sure. So, playing both baseball and football at a high level, like which sport would you say shaped your mentality more to where you are today?
I'm going to say football, bro. I'm going to say football only because it's a lot you got to push through. We all know football is a very physical sport, but I don't know, man. It's just football kind of, I guess, pushing through the physical and mental aspect of football. It made me a better baseball player because the difference I always tell people is you can do a lot of things right in football and have a lot of success. You can do everything perfect in baseball and still not have much success, Just like, man, you kind of touched on a little bit before we got started, how you've been catching a lot of barrels, but they ain't been falling, But I feel like football kind of prepped me to push through that. And, it kind of just helped me have a short-term memory and just keep on working even when things didn't go my way, no matter how good I may have executed, So.
For sure. So we both know we met up at Tuskegee. Everybody's recruiting story is a little different. So I want to kind of touch up on how did you get to Tuskegee? Like, what was your recruiting journey like out of high school?
Man, my recruiting journey was actually a whirlwind, bro. So Tuskegee, remember I first met Coach Hollins. I was, I believe, 16 or 17. We played in a 2D sports tournament in Montgomery. And he was down there, and I played. Well, it was one of those tournaments where, I caught a lot of barrels, made some plays, but I just could not get the ball to fall offensively. But, I guess I did something good enough, whether it be my hustle or how I approached the game that, interested Coach Hollins, and I got to meet him. I got his card. I went to actually, it's a funny story. I went to a Tuskegee camp, bro, and I did terrible, bro. Like, fielding was terrible. I think batting was subpar. I knew I could have did better. I was kind of hard on myself, but as I grew and got better, Coach Hollins ended up giving me an offer my senior year of high school And at the time, I was back and forth between Tuskegee and another school, and this other school actually offered me what I thought at the time was a better offer. So I was originally verbally committed to Tuskegee. Season ended around April 1st that year. I think we made it to the first round. And I ended up decommitting, bro. So I decommitted and I committed to this other school about midway through June because, like I said, I thought they were giving me a better opportunity. So time went on and I actually went down to this school for a visit. And I said, yeah, hey, coach, I had these certain papers signed for the initial offer that he gave me. And I was just asking him where the new one was going to be. And he looked at me and was just like, what are you talking about, man? Like, new offer? I'm like, whoa, okay. So I was kind of struck, bro. I was heartbroken, man. At this point, it was middle of June going into July. And, I thought I had nowhere to go. So, I ended up calling Coach Hollins and I was honest with him. I said, hey, coach, this happened. I thought it was a better deal. It wasn't. I really want to come to Tuskegee. If it's not too late, I would love to at least have a walk-on spot opportunity. And he said, you know what, Glass, like, I didn't deal your information out, bro. So you still got your offer on the table. So I ended up recommitting to Tuskegee literally 2 weeks before class started. I recommitted at the end of July, bro. And I think move in that year, with COVID, it was like August 6th. And I think we started class like August 10th or August 12th, some weird date like that. So I ended up actually recommitting to Tuskegee 2 weeks before school started, which was pretty stressful, but one of the best decisions I ever made, honestly.
So how is your how do you deal with the situation now as far as structure with your fitness and still taking care of your body and everything versus the structure of being active teen, those structured workouts where you had to be there to time and everything, because now you're relying on self-discipline to try and to get your rest and exercise and build a good lifestyle, a good clean. How is it trying to manage that on your own without that calendar and all of the restrictions and pressure of that?
That's a great question, actually. It was really tough for me. I'll be honest. It was like the first time in my life where I actually had time to do stuff. And, baseball was never a burden, but baseball, especially at the collegiate level, is you're a very busy person when you're a baseball player or just an athlete in general in college. So I think for like the first month, I was just like, all right, I'm going to just take a deep breath. I'm going to relax. I'm going to get some rest. I'm going to get caught up on some things, enjoy some things I usually wouldn't get to enjoy. And my first day back out, I ran a mile. I think I ran like a 9-minute mile. It was a terrible time. And I was like, you know what? I can't live this lifestyle. I can't sit back and relax, man. I feel terrible, bro. So at that point, I got back into training. I love baseball so much, so I used to hit with the guys at Tuskegee, and we used to have a good time. But I honestly went back to a normal schedule as if I was still an athlete. I would get up early, go get my workout in before class. If I had time, I'll cook breakfast. If I didn't have time, I'll eat a quick breakfast and just started back meal prepping. And I kind of just got back on a set routine because, I realized that me working out for baseball was a lot bigger for my life than it just was for me being a good baseball player. So it took some time, but now I'm pretty much on a set schedule now, getting back to it just as if I was playing.
When you first, because a lot of times I ask athletes this, because everybody is a little bit different, but it's a fun thing to ask. And everybody's got their own little story about it. And you see, how their face lights up. But what was it like when you first rolled up on campus, man? When you looked up and said, I'm here. I can't believe this. I'm here. They about to give me a scholarship to play baseball. And this campus with all these people and this historic play. What was that like, man, when you first just looked up and realized, I'm arrived?
Man, for me, it was more so like, okay, what the world do I do next? Like, my recruitment story was all over the place. I had got there on a whim last minute. I felt a little unprepared. And I don't know if Harrison ever told you about this, but what they do at Tuskegee during because freshmen arrive on campus early, what they do at Tuskegee is they wake you up around 6:50 a.m. that whole first week, banging on your door, yelling, tell you to go eat breakfast. And I was like, okay, is this college or is this boot camp? Like, what is going on? Is this normal? You know what I'm saying? But as far as baseball goes, man, I was so excited. I was so excited to be able to just showcase what I could do. I had a lot of confidence in myself coming off a I mean, all glory to God, but an unreal senior season. And, once I got in and I got my boots on the ground and got rolling on the new schedule, because again, it was another adjustment from coming from a high school schedule to having a lot more free time and having to be more structured on my own. Once I got that rolling and really got honed in on that, man, I had a really good time actually. My freshman year was probably one of my most memorable years when it comes to baseball. Harrison can attest to it, just the type of training we did, type of work we did on the field, and this is by no means, this is no bad mouth to anybody at Tuskegee University that played at that time. But hey, freshman class when we came in, we was a different breed of baseball players. If it was anybody at the field at 7 a.m., it was us. If it was anybody at the field when practice was over, it was us. If it was anybody in the weight room, in between classes, it was us. So just having that brotherhood of just, having a group of guys I can lean on, even if the days where I didn't feel like working or the days where I needed a little push, I needed a little help, having that brotherhood was really helpful because in high school, it wasn't really like that. I come from a predominantly Black high school. We are football focused, football, basketball focused, and, baseball, you kind of got to get it on your own, which was easy. But even then, I had a small group of guys in high school that were similar to the guys like Harrison and Evan Jones that I was able to meet at Tuskegee. So it was awesome, but it was definitely a bit confusing at first, trying to figure out what direction to go.
It's a great thing to be able to have a support system. You need that. You lose that. And it's just for specifically those days that you just don't want to do it. Because the people always ask me, to have your body at performance key, what is the most important? They say, is it the diet? Is it the lifestyle? Is it the training? What is it? And I say it's always the mindset. It's the mentality.
100%.
It's all of that because nothing works if your mind is not focused. We should have the best systems in the world as far as diet and exercise, but if you're just mentally not there to where you're willing to push yourself and you're dedicated to it, nothing works.
100%. 100%.
So when you were playing, you were a quarterback in high school?
Yes.
Okay. How do you think that translated over to being able to play baseball? Because from my understanding, a lot of quarterbacks, they translate over into baseball and sports of nature, which take great eye-hand coordination, timing, and quarterback takes a lot of that. So tell me, how do you feel that being able to be a quarterback, be able to deliver the ball was able to help you in baseball as far as with your throwing and also with your batting, with the hand-eye coordination? You think that was an advantage playing football at quarterback?
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like just from a fielding and throwing standpoint, especially, it kind of taught me rhythm. Playing quarterback, you kind of dancing. It's kind of like a dance move, and I translated it over to baseball because with playing football and playing quarterback, timing is like everything. I mean, you can be off time and throw an interception. You can be too early and have a missed throw an incomplete pass. But when you find that rhythm and you're actually on time with your reads, that's kind of when the artwork and the dance kind of flows together. And it's the same with fielding, having that internal clock in the infield, knowing when to get the ball out, being able to read how fast the runner is, depending on to basically gauge how you need to get the ball out, whether you need to shuffle or get it out as soon as you field it. And from a batting standpoint, honestly, I think the rotational work is really what helped me batting because playing quarterback, I did a lot of rotational work with med balls, with bands, and that kind of translated into how I train for baseball as well, because it's kind of similar mechanics, honestly. It's similar mechanics with the way your hip fires, with the way your front foot stops and acts as a brake. It's the same thing with throwing a football. You don't want to have your knees over your toes throwing the football because the ball will sail on you, and you'll actually lose a lot of velocity behind it if you're leaning into that front leg as well. With me personally, it was the same with hitting. I'm a big turn underneath guy. I like going the other way. I like hitting low hard line drives, and to do that, I had to stop something so the backside could keep going. If not, I'm just gonna be spinning. You know what I'm saying? So I think that translated well for me as far as going from football season into baseball season on the offensive side as well.
That's nice. That's great. That's awesome. And Harrison said also some stuff about you like to do a lot of community things. first off, Harrison's a great guy. That's my cat. And he has great friends that, and so I include you with that. Of the ones that I met, you guys are really great guys. Um, and I'd like for people to know what do you like as far as your version of giving back and doing community types of things to kind of encourage people in different ways with baseball and outside of baseball. What are some of the things that you'd like to do outside of that community wise to influence your community in a positive way?
Starting with outside of baseball, you may be familiar with the organization called Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I had the wonderful opportunity to serve at Tuskegee as a huddle leader, and serving for Fellowship of Christian Athletes is one of my favorite ways to give back to the community and kind of just give them guidance. You know, a lot of people don't know Christ, and a lot of people don't know how to start and learn to get to know Christ. They don't know where to start. So just being able to be a liaison and help people, get on the right track and help them know where to start and help them, learn about the gospels and just teach them the good news of Jesus Christ is one of my favorite ways to give back outside of the game. And within the game, I love just training people. I love training people one-on-one and giving them, hate to say this, I love giving them top dollar information for free. It's a lot of things that I paid for in my time playing. I paid for a lot of training, paid for a lot of online programs, and I learned like a lot just being a nerd of the game. And, I love to give back to people who either may not know anything about those things or maybe just not in a position or don't have the resources to get into those things themselves. And, when I can help someone, especially if they're doing something that I used to do that I got fixed by paying for this information that I now have, I love to do that within the game and just kind of pour into them on the mental side of it too. Cause I feel like baseball is obviously, it's a mental sport. It's tough. It can be tough, especially in tough environments. I played in a lot of tough environments on a lot of tough teams, but being able to kind of grow people and iron sharpens iron kind of situation, give them a little tough love and give them a little nudge. That's something I love to do within the game too. Just kind of pull potential out of people that they didn't know that they had in themselves, honestly.
Awesome. So
So I kind of want to go back to circle back to freshman year. You talked about freshman year. It felt like a movie, man. I still
Yeah.
deal freshman year, man. They always say freshman year is the year you remember, but we kind of got some bar news freshman year. The beginning of baseball season freshman year, we found out that our coach that brought us in, he wouldn't be coming back. He decided he wanted to move on and pursue minority baseball prospects, which later actually helped us down the road. But kind of want to touch on that. How did that impact you? Like hearing that news that he wasn't gonna be coaching us the rest of our time. How that affect you?
Honestly, it was a bit heartbreaking. Especially I remember the night we got the news. I think we were playing Benedict. We got the news on the road in Carolina, but it was tough, man. Because I mean, like I said, Coach Hollins he left a door open for me that I thought was closed, and it was just tough going through that summer not knowing what was next and knowing that I had a lot left. And he means a lot to me and a lot to my baseball journey. Just leaving that door open for me and actually growing me once I got inside. But the transition was okay. It was hard. It was a new philosophy, new coaching style that took some getting used to. But the love for the game can always supersede these things. So I feel like my love for the game really helped me within that transition. As a lot of people, they ended up backing out because of the transition. But I think it helped me a lot. It toughened me up. I learned a lot more about myself. I learned areas where I needed to grow. And I guess it was just such an uncomfortable situation where you had no choice but to grow. But not having Coach Hollins there for the rest of my time at Tuskegee was definitely heartbreaking news, to say the least. Because I don't even think today he knows how much he meant to my baseball career.
going forward, I would say, what ambitions do you see within the game, or more ambitions more outside of the game? Do you see yourself as a coach, possibly in the future sometime, or doing something else with baseball in the future?
Yeah, so my old travel ball team, Athletics for One, also known as A for One, that's kind of where the transition of me growing up in baseball kind of started. I played for my dad my entire life, great coach, and he just got to a point where the game had moved on, in a way that he wasn't used to. And he just wanted us to go be free and have opportunities to get better. So, I played for Ep.1 since I was 16 years old until I got to college. And just the way that I learned the game, the way that I matured throughout the game, and just was able to even have opportunities collegiately because of Ep.1, it's something that drew me back to their place. And now I actually serve as the head baseball operations manager. So I basically do all the training for Ep.1. I'm a travel ball coach. I have a 16U team this summer, and I love it. Baseball is always something I knew I wanted to be a part of for my entire life, whether it be playing or coaching. Being able to have this opportunity to coach at a place that meant so much to me has showed me that, hey, this is what I want to do. So, I definitely see myself continuing with Ep.1. Whatever the future looks like, that's what it's going to be. And also the weight room aspect of it. I love physical training too. I love being in the weight room, and I can see me doing a little bit more in that aspect too. But as far as the coaching realm, that's something I'm diving into deep in with as we speak.
Well, they're lucky to have me.
This guy, man, he used to be up shooting the morning squatting over like 400 pounds, like I was I come to like I'm like
Yeah, man, freshman year, bro. We used to call it the dungeon. We used to be in the dungeon at 4 a.m.
yeah. I'm like, man, this dude used to be up here. I'm like, man, I don't know, man. It's better there, and that's all.
That's for that's up. But
We all know this game is really humbling. It'll really humble you, put you in your place. But what was one moment that really stuck out to you that really like humbled you as a baseball player?
Freshman year, man. I'm gonna go back to the tournament. Savannah State at the time, I believe I think they were the #1 team at the time. That was probably the most humbling game I've ever played in my life. I'd been riding the high the whole season. Started freshman, won a starting job my freshman year. Transition from third base to shortstop. Ended up being the shortstop for the remainder of that year, and I guess I got a little too ahead of myself. Got to feeling myself a little bit, and I think that Savannah State game kind of brought me back down to earth. I think I made 4 errors in 1 inning, and ended up getting pulled out the game, and it was just like, man, what the world happened? And in that moment, that's the moment where I realized, like, hey, this isn't a game where you can really get ahead of yourself. You're never really in control of this game. You got to show respect to this game and give it your absolute all, every single step, every single pitch, every single play, because it'll come back and haunt you when you don't. And, I think that was a moment where I just kind of took things for granted. And I'm really grateful for that moment, though, because, like I said, it brought me back down to earth. I got back to work that following summer with that. Those moments, those errors just replaying in my head the entire summer. I lost sleep that day, I think. But I think that was a moment that really kind of showed me what this game really was all about. Because again, this was playoff baseball in college, and I was 18 years old at the time. So I think that was probably one of the most humbling moments I've had for sure.
So I kind of want to go. Everybody defines success a little differently. Our success now may be different than what it was back then. But like, how would you define success now compared to back then?
Success for me now is way different than it was back then. I think success for me now is being in a point with not just athletics, but just life, where you can become your own coach. I think when you have enough trial and error to a point where the adjustments you make are some that can be self-made. Of course, we're going to need other people, going to need other coaches, but being able to become your own coach is one of the most key pieces in my baseball career. I've been in situations where, coaching styles just didn't work for me, and I had to grind. I had to kind of figure it out, and once I got to a point where I could make adjustments on the fly, and I could see what I'm doing, feel what I'm doing, and correct myself, that's when I feel like I had the most success as far as results go. I feel like results are great, but results aren't everything. They come and go. Like I said, you can do everything right in baseball and it still not go your way. But when things do go wrong, what do you do then? And being able to have myself to kind of lean on and study, just being a nerd of the game is really what I think success is. And I feel like that's the same way throughout life as well. You have moments in life where you're down and, you got to realize, like, I can pick myself up, man. I can lean on the Lord, bro. I can lean on great people that I know, but sometimes we get in these down moments and we just get all boggled in the mind. We don't really know where to go. But being able to just slow down, look yourself in the mirror and start from square one again and be okay with that is what I think success really is defined.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But I think kind of want to leave off on this note. We had a good podcast so far. I really appreciate all your insights. Appreciate all reminiscing, man. I feel like just yesterday we was down there, man. We just moved here. I still miss them days. I always will. But kind of leave off on this note. If a kid from your city was to listen to this, like what's some real advice that you would give them? A kid, maybe 17, 16 years old that, wants to reach the heights that you reach. Like what advice would you give to a kid from your city?
It's an analogy I'll always love to give. I think I gave it to my travel ball guys a couple of years ago. And you got to kind of look at your baseball career and what you do within the game the same as a brick house. And what I mean by that is when you look at a brick house from the road, you don't just see one big brick, right? You see a lot of small bricks placed strategically with care that eventually make this big house. So everything you do every single day, you got to stack a brick every single day. And it's small bricks. It's the insignificant things, the things that you think aren't that important. Those are the most important things, especially within this game, and not just this game, but life. So the more bricks you stack, the bigger your house going to be. But you got to pay attention to those minute details and stack those small bricks to have the big house. That'd be the best advice I can give anybody.
That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate having you, man, and it's great meeting you. And I wish you the best in your career. And feel free to come on back and give us an update as to what kind of things are going with you and your program there. And I definitely wish you the best, and I thank you for coming.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me. Nice to meet you.
For sure. Thanks for coming, man. We'll be in contact, man.
Yes, sir. Always, bro. Stay up.
All right, number. All right.
All right.